Hey everybody, I'm Jimmy Kimmel, and welcome to Mind Benders. Are you ready to have your brain twisted like a pretzel? Good, because today we're diving into the top 10 trickiest general knowledge quiz questions that will make you question everything you thought you knew. These brain busters are so tough they'd make a Mensa member sweat through their pocket protector. Let's see how many you can get right. And trust me, bragging rights are on the line for this one. You ready? Let's go. All right, question number 1, and don't even think about Googling it. Cheetah, what is the capital of Australia? Now, I know what you're thinking. Sydney? It's got to be Sydney, right? Wrong. Or maybe you're a little savvier, a little more worldly. You're thinking, Melbourne. It's definitely Melbourne. Nope, also wrong. The answer, my friends, is Canberra. Canberra. Bet you weren't expecting that, were you? It's like the quiet kid in the back of the class who ends up becoming a world-famous astronaut. Next up, we're blasting off into space, so buckle up. We're about to embark on an interplanetary journey to uncover the mysteries of our solar system. Which planet is known as the Red Planet? If you guessed Mars, you're absolutely right. Mars has fascinated humans for centuries with its distinct reddish hue. Now, this one might seem easy, but there's a reason it's on our list of trickiest questions. The Red Planet holds many secrets and surprises that aren't immediately obvious. You see, Mars isn't just red because it's, well, red. The surface of Mars is covered in a fine layer of iron oxide dust, giving it that signature rusty color. It's actually covered in iron oxide. That's right, rust. This iron oxide is similar to the rust you might find on an old bicycle or a forgotten piece of metal left out in the rain. It's like the universe's biggest abandoned toolbox. Imagine a planet-sized workshop where everything is coated in a layer of rust. And get this, Mars has the largest volcano in our solar system, Olympus Mons. This colossal volcano stands about 13.6 miles high, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. It's so big it could cover the entire state of Missouri. Just imagine an entire state blanketed by a single volcanic structure. So next time you see a rusty old wrench, think of Mars, the red planet. It's a world of iron and rust, with landscapes that tell a story of a planet that once had water and volcanic activity. And with rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance exploring its surface, we're constantly learning more about this fascinating planet. Who knows what other secrets Mars holds? So keep looking up at the night sky and remember, Mars is more than just a red dot. It's a world waiting to be explored. All right, let's get theatrical, shall we? Today we're diving into one of the most iconic love stories ever told. A tale of passion, feuding families, and tragic endings. Yes, you guessed it, we're talking about Romeo and Juliet. Who wrote the play Romeo and Juliet? This question might seem simple, but there's a rich history behind it. Now, this one's a classic, and I'm pretty sure most of you know the answer is the big guy himself, William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, often hailed as the greatest playwright of all time, penned this masterpiece in the late 16th century. His works have transcended time, captivating audiences for over 4 centuries. But did you know that Romeo and Juliet is actually based on an Italian story? That's right, the plot was inspired by a narrative poem by Arthur Brooke called The Tragical History of Romeo and Juliet, which itself was based on older Italian tales. Shakespeare borrowed the plot and gave it his own little twist. He transformed the story into a timeless drama, filled with poetic dialogue, complex characters, and unforgettable scenes. His version added depth and emotion, making it a standout piece in his repertoire. It's like the Renaissance version of a Hollywood remake. Just as modern filmmakers reimagine classic stories, Shakespeare took an existing tale and made it his own, ensuring its place in literary history. And speaking of twists, did you know that in some early productions of the play, Romeo and Juliet were actually played by men? During Shakespeare's time, women were not allowed to perform on stage, so young boys often took on the roles of female characters. Talk about a plot twist. Imagine the challenge and artistry involved in those performances. It's fascinating to think about how theatre has evolved since then. So, the next time you watch or read Romeo and Juliet, remember the layers of history and creativity that brought this legendary play to life. Chapter 4. Time for a geography lesson. What is the smallest country in the world? Now you might be tempted to say some tiny island nation you've never even heard of, but the answer is actually right in the heart of Europe. It's Vatican City. This little country is so small you could walk across it in about 20 minutes. And with a population of less than 1,000 people, it's like the world's most exclusive club. But hey, at least they have some pretty impressive art to look at, right? Chapter 5. Get ready to put on your thinking caps, folks. What is the hardest natural substance on Earth? Now, you might be thinking about steel, granite, maybe even that crusty old bagel you found in the back of your pantry. But the answer is actually a little more sparkly. It's diamond. These bad boys are formed under intense heat and pressure, which is probably why they're so good at cutting through just about anything. And let's be real, who doesn't love a little sparkle in their life? All right, art lovers, this one's for you. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Now, I know what you're thinking. Duh, it's Leonardo da Vinci. And you'd be right. But did you know that the Mona Lisa is actually a portrait of a real person? Her name was Lisa Gherardini, and she was the wife of a wealthy silk merchant. Talk about a glow-up. And get this, the Mona Lisa doesn't have any eyebrows. Apparently it was fashionable at the time to shave them off. I guess beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. Chapter 7. Time for a watery adventure. What is the longest river in the world? This question has intrigued geographers, explorers, and scientists for centuries. Now, this one's a bit of a trick question because there's some debate about the answer. The two main contenders are the Nile River in Africa and the Amazon River in South America. Some say it's the Nile, which has been historically recognized as the longest river in the world. The Nile stretches over 6,650 kilometers, flowing through northeastern Africa and emptying into the Mediterranean Sea, while others claim it's the Amazon. The Amazon River, on the other hand, is often considered the largest river by volume, carrying more water than any other river in the world. It flows through the heart of the Amazon rainforest and spans approximately 7,000 kilometers. And to be honest, they both have a pretty good case. The debate arises because measuring the length of a river can be quite complex. It depends on identifying the source and the mouth of the river, which can vary based on different criteria. The Nile is longer if you measure it from its most distant source, which is generally considered to be the Kagera River in Burundi. This makes the Nile the longest river by traditional measurements. While the Amazon carries more water, the Amazon River Basin is the largest drainage basin in the world, and during the rainy season the river can expand to over 190 kilometers in width. But for the sake of this quiz, we're going to go with the generally accepted answer. The Amazon River. Recent studies and satellite imagery have suggested that the Amazon might actually be slightly longer than the Nile, making it the new champion. So, congratulations to the Amazon for being the heavyweight champion of rivers. Whether it's the longest or just the largest, there's no denying the Amazon's incredible impact on our planet. All right, foodies, get your chopsticks ready. What is the main ingredient in traditional Japanese miso soup? Now, you might be tempted to say seaweed, tofu, or maybe even some magical unicorn tears. But the real star of the show is fermented soybean paste, also known as miso. This savory paste is made by fermenting soybeans with salt and koji, a type of mold. Sounds delicious, right? But trust me, it's actually quite tasty and incredibly good for you. So next time you're feeling adventurous, give miso soup a try. One small step for man, one giant leap for quiz-taking humanity. Who was the first person to walk on the moon? Now this one's a no-brainer, Neil Armstrong. In 1969, Armstrong and his crewmates, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, made history when they landed on the moon. And as Armstrong took his first steps on the lunar surface, he uttered those famous words. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It was a moment that captivated the world and inspired generations to come. All right, last question, and it's a real gold mine. What is the chemical symbol for gold? Now, you might be thinking Go or GD, but those are just rookie mistakes. The real answer is AU, and no, it's not because gold is short for awesome, although it totally should be. The symbol AU actually comes from the Latin word for gold, aurum. And just like gold itself, the symbol AU is a symbol of wealth, prosperity, and success. So, how did you do? Did you manage to answer all 10 questions correctly? If you did, congratulations. You're a true general knowledge genius. But even if you didn't get them all right, don't worry. The important thing is that you had fun and maybe even learned something new along the way. Be sure to let us know how you did in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more brain-bending challenges and fascinating facts. Until next time, stay curious.